had some unbelievable calls during the postseason this year. Steven, thanks so much for coming over. How are you, man?
I'm great, fellas. Great to be with you again. And great to finally meet you in person,
finally meet
man.
you,
Not to like make you feel old at all, but I've been listening to you for a long time, growing up here in the Southland, and so it's kind of silly for me to be sitting next to you here. So I appreciate you guys having me on again.
That's very nice of you. I haven't been here that long, man.
No.
Well,
a couple years.
A couple of years, exactly. So I'm curious from you. I'm curious from you, Steven. How much? Because there were so many, it was a World Series of moments.
Yeah.
There were so many interesting moments. Had they gone differently, the Dodgers would not have won the World Series. Were you prepared for what you were about to see when you sat down?
No. I mean, especially in Game 7. Like, I still am, like, trying to process what happened in that game because, as you said, there was a lot. I mean, the Dodgers were a millimeter away, a spike away from losing the World Series.
Yep.
But in the moment, like, you can't really dwell on that because you have to get ready for the next play in the next inning. And so whether it was the bases-loaded situation, well, go back, like Miggy's home run in the ninth to tie it, and then the bottom half, like, honestly thought, Guerrero had won it. And he just missed that fly ball to straightaway center field. And then, they load the bases or whatever, and Rojas stumbling, Miggy recovering to make that play, the Pajes catch, like Pajes coming off the bench.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, there's just all these things that, like, if they just happen in a normal regular season game, I would be kicking it over to Mo to get his take on it, but we just didn't have time to do that.
Right.
And so then after the game ends, we're sitting there in the booth as the celebration is going on there in Rodgers Center, and we're kind of just dumbstruck. Like, wait, that happened, and then that happened after it, and then that happened on top of it, and then they won? Like, it was just a magical experience.
By the way, I'm still blown away by that's the ball.
That's the Miggy ball.
That is the Miggy ball that I watched leave the yard in Toronto, and now it's sitting right there. It's just crazy to me.
I mean, I heard Miggy on the way in. He was getting emotional. Like, and I hope he knows the emotions that he brought out of so many people, not just here in the Southland, but all around Dodgers Nation. Like, that will ring throughout history, one of the most important and impactful home runs, not just in Dodger history, but World Series history.
Steven, I know the last time that you and I talked, we were talking about when Clayton Kershaw was closing in on getting his 3,000 strikeout. That's something you can see coming. That's something you can prepare for.
Yeah.
And then you get a home run in the seventh game, the ninth inning of the World Series from a guy that doesn't hit home runs.
No, respectfully, Miggy.
Yeah. I mean, how are you prepared for that call and then hit it the way that you did? Because you know that that's going to be played with that play forever.
So with that one specifically, I'll walk you through my mindset. I honestly was gearing up for that guy on deck, Shohei Ohtani.
Sure.
But I think everybody who was watching the game was really like, all right, if Rojas gets on, then awesome.
I kept saying, get to Shohei. Shohei. And it's like,
it's like, all right, if Miggy gets on, that is cake.
Yeah.
But you're not really you're not expecting a home run or really even a hit in that scenario, just based on the way the at-bat started, how he was spinning them. It's like, I don't know if he's seeing the ball well. Well, he hadn't had a lot of reps, so you're like, okay, that makes sense. So my mind was gearing up for Show on deck. And so then it gets to the 3-2 pitch, and he hits it. And you could hear in my call, like, the surprise, like, this ball's got some carry to it. And then it goes out. And so I had really nothing prepared for that moment. But after it went over the wall, my favorite call of all time in sports is Gary Thorne, 2003 Stanley Cup Final, Game 6. Paul Correa had gotten knocked out by Scott Stevens of the New Jersey Devils. And if it happened today, he's done not just for the game, but probably for the rest of the season. But he comes back and he scores. And as he gets the puck through the neutral zone, Gary Thorne says, Paul Correa, the fans want one. He rips it past Marty Brodeur, score. Off the floor, on the board, Paul Correa. That is my favorite call in broadcast history. And that popped into my head in that moment for Rojas because he'd come off the bench in Game 6 and he got on the board in Game 7. So that's how that one came together. So really all the credit goes to Gary Thorne for that call.
It's such a great call. Now, do you go back and – because if it was me, because this is me, I would go back and I would listen to my call a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
Have you gone back and listened to your call?
On that one I have heard, and the final out I have heard. I generally hate myself, let alone and my work.
You're a broadcaster.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are certain calls where I can't, like Freddie Freeman's Grand Slam in 20. I can't listen to it. I hate it. For me, just for me, like
just for you.
That just like obviously I know I love what happened.
Yeah,
I love
right.
the moment, but I felt like I was caught flat-footed there, and honestly, that experience was like you're never gonna be unprepared for a moment again. So generally, I don't like listening to my stuff. No,
Stephen, the World Series, like you mentioned, 4 or 5 different things that happened in Game 6 and Game 7, and Mason and I were talking about this throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
Every game, maybe other than Game 1, had a moment you're like, I can't believe what I just saw.
Yeah.
Dude, do you have one that kind of jumps out at you that wasn't? And because the Rojas thing kind of took over, but Will Klein going out there and
Will
just
Klein.
shoving for 4 innings.
Hey,
I mean, it just
give it up for Justin Dean.
Justin
Game
Dean
6,
having his
man.
hands in
That
the
ball
air.
is stuck, man.
Yeah.
So many different guys had so many different moments. Is there one that jumps to the top of mind?
No, it's an excellent point. I had that conversation with Anthony Bonda on the bus parade, the bus for the parade. And I was like asking what makes this a little different. And he's like, I think what makes this one more special is that everybody on the roster had a moment in the postseason. Maybe not in the World Series or the end, but from the wild card round all the way through. And so it felt more like, I know everybody made the group project joke, right?
Yeah.
I brought a pencil to the group project and got an A. I know everybody was making that joke, but there really was you go down the roster and everybody had a box that they checked during the postseason. So I think that is what made it really cool to follow and cover. I mean, if you had to ask me my favorite moment, it was probably Freddie's home run in Game 3. I don't know if my voice box had another inning in me. So I got food poisoning in Toronto after Game 1. So I was up puking my guts out a whole night. I went to the hospital the next day before Game 2 to try and get an IV, and they're like, it's $3,000, and I'm like, I thought Universal Health.
I'm in Canada, bro.
Canada.
That's their thing.
But I had a Dodgers logo on, so maybe they were just trying to take it to me there. So I was like, I just did old school Gatorade and crackers. I slept in the booth the last hour before Game 2, woke up at the anthem, did the game, didn't sleep on the red-eye flight back. So then when I woke up on the off day, I had a chest cold and I couldn't talk. My voice was gone. And so then Game 3 had 18 innings.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Perfect storm. I know Rick Krajewski somewhere rolling his eyes playing a tiny violin for me. But if not for that home run, I think Mo would have had to take the 19th inning there for Game 3. So
I
Freddie
was talking to Orel about this, but I looked at the crowd here at Legends Attic, and it's it's there's young, there's old, there's people who've been Dodger fans forever. There are people. It brings people together.
Yeah.
Sports and in this case in Los Angeles, the Dodgers bring people together at that parade. Complete strangers hugging and cheering. I mean, nothing else can do this but a championship and a team like the Dodgers.
Yeah, and taking the job in 2023, Mace, I knew it was a big deal. It's working for the Dodgers. I understood the history of the headset, right? And you're walking into Mr. Scully's press box in his booth every day. I understood that part of it, but only after doing the last 2 postseasons on radio and interacting with the fans, whether at the parade or the celebrations or just kind of in public day to day, I didn't fully grasp the connection to the community. That working for a team and being part of the local broadcast, what that means. I knew it was a big deal. I just didn't know, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so it has been, it's kind of knocked me back on my heels the last few years taking that in, and especially the parade, as you mentioned. They doubled the route, or they lengthened the route from last year, which was the players were not complaining, but they said, hey, that route was really short in 2024.
Yeah.
So they made it longer this year. And to see just the layers of people from block to block and street to street and the emotions that were pouring out of them. Now, a lot of that was just thirst for Anthony Bonda, who was shirtless. But but on the whole, just what that meant to, this whole community, which has been through so much, right? And how sport has helped pull the community through that. It's a really powerful thing to think about.
This is what year was this?
This was my 3rd season.
3rd season.
Yeah.
Because this is a city of champions.
Yeah.
it gets passed down from generation to generation. If there were large gaps of non-champions in Los Angeles for, let's say, 10 years, families would start to fall away from a sport or sports in general. But because there's a champion in L.A. every other year or every year, and now back-to-back with the Dodgers, it gets passed on from grandfather to father to kids to the next generation.
You know, I wanted to talk to you about this at the parade because it was kind of sitting on my heart, but we didn't have time to. Is like there are families that, you know, their fathers or grandfathers have you and Gibby, and then now that there are fathers and sons and grandsons who have Freddie and Yama, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Fantastic.
And like, so it's just like it's how can you not be romantic about baseball? It's impossible. So I'm with you there. Owen.
Well, you know, last year I wore Bueller's jersey.
Yeah.
And he wore mine. And this year I wore Yama's jersey. And I gave him one of mine. And on the jersey, I had wrote, you know, congratulations on being a World Series champion from one MVP to another. And then I signed my name. And we have a picture of that. And, yeah, it is. It just keeps passing on. And it's passing on in the Dodger family now.
It's great.
It's incredible to watch. Stephen Nelson joining us here at Legends Attic out here in beautiful Claremont, California. And, Stephen, the last time you came, I told you one of my favorite things of listening to you is you and umpires. And we get ABS coming next season.
Yeah.
And I keep flashing back to one of my favorite moments of this season. It was in Colorado. And you were on the call.
I think it was the EK.
And I think it was with EK.
Yeah.
And you said something along the lines, I can't believe he missed that one. And then EK said maybe the sun was in his eyes. And your response was, all game? and it was...
It might have been now that I think about it.
It was one of my favorite moments of the end.
Yeah.
So please tell me, even with ABS coming next year, that I still get my Stephen Nelson umpire.
No doubt. The moment I thought you were referencing was CB Buckner, who's one of the veteran umpire, and then EK opened the broadcast. I was like, oh, CB Buckner behind home plate, and EK goes, he's a veteran umpire who's regarded as a veteran umpire.
right.
So I thought that like, so yeah. Look, it's I've had conversations about this with Orel and Joe, and like, you know, I got to rein it in and not like let it linger. So, but I don't think I'll ever be able to kind of shake that guttural reflex of that was bad, sir. Clean it up.
Well, there's portions of a broadcast that the fans want you to have the fan reaction.
Yes.
And there's portion of the broadcast, if you don't have the fan reaction, then they're like, is he really on our side? Is he really our guy?
But there was a couple in Game 7 where, you know, again, and look, there was a veteran crew, but a lot of them were working their first World Series, and like Mo and I were trying to have that empathy for them. Like, you know, the players are experiencing this for the first time. You know how they're feeling. I'm sure umpires are doing it too. And if you blink at the wrong moment, you maybe miss something. But you know, there were some calls in that Game 7 where Jordan Baker was behind home plate. I'm like, it's games. Come on. But you know, I don't think that the ABS system is going to save everybody.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. I'm here for it.
One of those things that sticks out to me, and Travis and I have talked a lot about it. The World Series comes to an end, and you get this sort of World Series letdown. It's like, we were hanging on every game, on every pitch, literally on every pitch. There's nothing like baseball postseason because everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks they're right. Everybody thinks Dave did the right thing, the wrong thing.
Right.
And coming down from all that, do you have a little bit of a World Series letdown?
Yeah, definitely. It's like I don't have a game to get ready for. Like it's got, you know, in a weird way, it's like you wanted that team to keep going because they were just kind of giving you so much magic, and it was like, wait a second, like that was it. But it was like it was an all-time series, man.
Oh yeah,
you know, it was two teams and that it just kind of left it all out there, and I know the Blue Jays are. That's two sides of the coin. Like,
sure.
Exhilarating and it's excruciating, equal parts. And you know, fortunate for us on the side of Los Angeles, we got the exhilarating.
Just for the fleeting second where it looked like Will Smith had come off the plate.
They're
going to lose
on
the
a
World
review.
Series on a review, and like the World Series can't end like this.
Just can't.
Would have been terrible.
Oh, that first look, it was like, oh no,
right?
Oh no, and then you've heard Will and Miggy since talk about how they can't watch that play. It makes their stomach turn, and you're like, yeah, it made our stomachs turn too. But again, thankfully they made the play.
This one's for both of you guys, Orel and Stephen both. How do you describe Shohei Ohtani when every day he does something that is just more extraordinary than the day before? How do you do that?
I mean, so his Game 4 performance in the NLCS, after his third home run, I put up a video of Mo and I in the booth. We literally I said, you take it, and he said, you take it, and I said, I got nothing, and he said, all with our body language, nothing. And we literally sat silent for like 50 seconds. Like, I let a pitch go by in Mookie's at bat before I said anything because there was nothing to say. And now I steal Andrew Friedman's line. He said, nothing that Shohei Ohtani does surprises me, and everything Shohei Ohtani does surprises me. So I think that's kind of what I lean on. But in terms of adjectives, I think
Orel, you sum it up. It should be easy.
Well, yeah. I think he's the best athlete that ever lived. I think Jesse Owens, when you talk about Olympians and somebody who does everything on one field in different endeavors, that's where you've got to start with him. And so he's the best athlete offensively and pitching on one field at the same time. So many great athletes, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, Mookie Betts. We always say, and they can do this. They do this at an elite level, and they can do this. This guy, you don't know which one to choose.
Right,
but he
right.
can. He does both at an elite level, both meticulously, both preparing in the same season. This isn't football and baseball. This isn't basketball and golf. This is crazy what he's doing. But he was born and blessed with an unbelievable body and an unbelievable work ethic and then an unbelievable mind that had goals set out at a very young age.
Yeah.
That this is what I want to be and this is what I want to do by this, and he holds himself to that.
That's the separator. Is like physically, there are humans who I think could at least attempt to do what he does.
Right.
But between the ears and inside his body, his heart and his mind, his ability to slow down the day and every game to go at his pace and compartmentalize, that is the separator, in my opinion.
And it's way beyond just being an athlete and compartmentalizing. He has manners. He's a great teammate. He has a sense of humor. He'll learn a new language so he can start relationships with Teoscar. He will have a baby and get married at the big league level, and on the day he's going to be a superstar, he's rolling the buggy into the stadium with his wife to make sure she's safe. He trains his dog, and the dog throws out the first pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, there is not a category where he doesn't go to the nth degree, where we give grace to top performers in any industry, that they're a top performer in that industry, and then outside, their life can be chaos.
Yeah.
But it's okay to be in chaos because they do this so well. He does it all.
By the way, you said manners. Manners is really interesting, right? The one thing I notice about him is when he's around home plate and interacting with umpires, he's got such an easy smile, right? I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that
there's a lightness to him.
Yeah, there is.
It's just different.
He's apologizing for every foul ball, warning everybody. I'll give you something. When the next time you guys talk about the Dodgers-Padres rivalry, if you watch Shohei Ohtani at the start of every game, his first plate appearance, he walks to the plate and he tips his helmet to the opposing dugout, right? And then he does his salute. There is only one team and one manager that he stopped doing that for, and that was Mike Shilton, the San Diego Padres, after what happened at Dodger Stadium, where they threw up and in and hit him with Suarez at 100 in the back. And, of course, he handled that with grace in the moment. He calmed the tempers for the Dodger dugout. Do not come out of here. Stay in. I'm fine. He laughed about it with Suarez at the All-Star game. But in the ensuing Dodger-Padres series after that, there was no more pregame salute. And so we talk about manners and respect. I think his understanding that respect is a two-way street.
Yep.
And once you cross that line, he is aware of it. And I thought that spoke volumes. He never said anything about it, nor will he ever. But that silence, it says a lot, I think, about where he's at and where the rivalry was at.
You said Game 4 CS.
Yeah, CS.
I got to be at that game. That is the most. I was in Rio to watch Usain Bolt run. I've gotten to go to really cool stuff. There's been nothing like that. And I think to this day, 20 years from now, I'm going to say, yeah, I got to be there for that. I got to be there for that. You were part of all of this legend, all of this lore.
Yeah.
It has to feel really special to you.
No question about it. So Rick Monday, a.k.a. Mo, who's going to turn 80 here in a week, he's called more baseball games than I think anybody in the last X number of years. And I don't think it's close because he does spring training game 1, last game of the postseason. When he says on the air or off the air, it's like, I've never seen that. He has seen and done everything that there is to do in the game of baseball. And so it's just like, okay, you make that mental and emotional note. Do not waste this opportunity. You savor every bit of it because we won't see it again unless he tops it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Very well could.
Every time you talk, well, you're never going to see that again unless it's him.
Unless it's him.
And he's the guy that can do it. So just kind of bringing it back to where we started with this whole thing and the World Series going the way that it did. The DS, frankly, ending on a throwing error.
Yeah.
Like there are so many things that had it one play gone a different way, it's the chaos theory.
Yep.
But you tell me, you guys, I can't remember a series where if any one of those things had gone a different way. There's a lot of 50-50 moments that could go, but the Dodgers needed to call the coin toss right 10 times in a row to win that World Series. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, we talked about Miggy and we talked about Will Smith, right?
Yep.
They're World Series heroes right now.
Yep.
They could be World Series GOATs.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Miggy throwing, the throw slightly offline, Will's foot being pulled an inch more, and the World Series is over, and now they have a whole offseason to stew and wait for spring training.
And I know you've told stories over the years, though, on the broadcast or telling stories to the people who ask. Like there are times in '88 where your streak could have come to an end, or the World Series run doesn't happen.
Pick up the phone and call teammates and say thank you for making that catch, or I can't believe, I'm so glad you threw to that base, or hey Tommy, Skip, I can't believe you didn't take me out. I would take me out by watching this right now. Yeah,
and that's why
we talked to Miggy about that when he was on as you were arriving.
Yeah, for sure, and that is why no one is going to care that Andy Pye has had the worst OPS in postseason history.
He made the catch.
He made the catch that saved Game 7, and that is all anybody will ever remember about Andy Pye in the
any chance at all, Kike catches that ball.
See, I thought he was going to. I really did think he was going to catch it.
Yeah.
So, I was so locked in on Kike on the warning track. He didn't get a great jump, but I thought he made up for it, and he had the read, and he seemed like he was there. And then out of the peripheral, you're like, Pye is just streaking in, and then bang. So, but I thought he was. I really did think Kike was going to catch it.
Willie Mays catch.
Yeah, it would have been like a
over the shoulder like a wide receiver.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Stephen, it is awesome to meet. I listen to you all the time, hear you all the time. Really, really appreciate all of the work you do.
Thank you.
Special part of this World Series run, and thank you for coming by.
Oh, thank you guys for having me, and thanks and Eddie and everybody for setting this up, and all the fans for showing up.
He's very loyal to Legends Attic. Comes out when we want him, and comes out for you guys. So it's very, very nice to have him. And
always a pleasure.
It's great to sit next to him in the booth. He is
very cool.
Now in the hearts and minds of all Los Angeles fans, and you have a job for life now because
No.
You have a job
I don't
for
know
life.
about that. Don't put that evil on the people.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
Thank you,
we are going to continue from Legends Attic.